All right, guys, welcome to another Monday update. Thanks for tuning in today. I got my phone going with comments here. As always, it's going to make the show a lot better if you drop in some comments and ask some questions. We have some really good questions for Tyler that we'll get to here shortly. But yeah, quickly, let's run through a couple things we have coming up. And hopefully everybody had a good Easter weekend. Tyler, did you have a good Easter weekend?
I did.
Good deal.
It's always fun with kids.
Oh yeah, that was my kids were crazy all weekend. It was a good time. Yeah, so a couple things coming up real quick, guys. Some of the things I mentioned in the previous weeks here, or last week that is actually has a date now. So, and I'll post up more information about this week, so you don't have to get your pad and pen out and write all this down. But April 19th, which is a Sunday, we're going to do the spring stride hike that I had mentioned last week, or ruck, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to post all the details, make an event for that today, so you'll get a chance to jump in all that. But it'll be April 19th at 2 o'clock. Anybody that wants to come out and join in on the spring hike, this is kind of the idea behind this, is just to get everybody together outside the gym. This can be kids, adults. It's a good opportunity for new members to come out and kind of meet everybody too. And like I said last week, I stole this from Amber's strength conditioning coach. They do this a lot, and you get some good conversations with people you don't normally get to talk to. So hopefully everybody can make it out to that. Again, more details will come later today, and I'll make sure everybody gets invited to that. But that'll be April 19th at 2. The next thing after that is May 2nd. And I'm sure there'll be more stuff that comes up in the in-between time too. But May 2nd is the submission-only tournament, and FAC is that night too. So I know we have a few people that are interested in competing. I don't think anybody's officially signed up yet, but submission-onlys are always a bunch of fun. And anybody that's interested in doing that, definitely jump in there. And I know Tyler's a sub-only champion a couple times over, right? Right?
Only against Mike Murray, actually, up in Iowa. Sub only is the way to go, though. That's by far my favorite way to compete. No points. Just don't have to worry about like getting guard passed, all that stuff. Just go out, go for the kill. And if not, the overtime rules, there's usually a submission anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's, some of the things with the overtime rules, whenever we went to that Eddie seminar, there was a couple really, really good things from that spiderweb position that completely changed my idea on the whole overtime thing too. But we can talk about that later. But anyway, yeah, May 2nd is the submission-only tournament. If you're interested in doing that, it's a good one to jump into. Next big thing after that is June 20th, so a little ways away, but we've started putting together a group message for this. We're traveling down to Texas for ADCC Dallas Open. I'm super excited about this. I know we have more and more people jumping into the group all the time. Katie Spicer has been a saint when it comes to helping figure out hotel plans and stuff like that. So we've started to get that stuff going because World Cup is down there at the same time, which is going to be chaos. So all the hotel prices are jumping up like crazy. And but we have a big group going. It should be a lot of fun. I'm going to have Tyler here in a little bit talk about the differences between ADCC and IBJF, because if I'm not mistaken, you got to go to an ADCC tournament, right?
Yeah, I went to ADCC Championships in 2022.
Yeah, so the big one. So we'll get to talk about that here shortly too. But in my mind, ADCC is like the biggest tournament, right? When it comes down to just straight tournaments, I think to me, it's the most prestigious one. So, yeah, really, really looking forward to not only the tournament, but just getting out of town and going down to Dallas, going to Texas with the crew, and picking up some wins down there. We're also going to see Mike Murray while we're down there, which would be cool. And yeah. Referral raffle. We're going to do the drawing today, but I think I'm going to make you wait till afterwards, right? We're going to make Tyler be the good guy or the bad guy, depending on how you look at it. We're going to give away $500. Got a handful of names in here. Sorry, I got two screens going, so if I'm looking over here the whole time, I apologize.
Which one's my camera?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we'll do a drawing here at the end for the $500, but first, let's get to some questions for my man, Tyler Trout. One more time, leave some emojis down in the comments, some clapping hands for Tyler showing up on a Monday and being here. So.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I've never done anything like this, so something new.
Welcome to Stride Studios.
Hard to follow Jay and Nick, but sure.
No. Real quick, before we get to that, I will just say this, I wanted to have Tyler on here for a few different reasons, mainly because a lot of you guys only come in on no-gi classes, and you don't get to see Tyler. So we're going to introduce you to Tyler, and he's going to convince all of you to start showing up on gi classes too. So we're going to do that. But, Tyler's always been one of my favorite training partners, and just his mindset on competition and jiu-jitsu in general, I think is going to be great to have in here. And I was super excited when the other night he's like, I have Monday off. I'm like, let's do it. So we got him in here. We made it happen. And we might even watch one of his MMA fight here in a little bit too. Yeah. So
one and done.
We might get to that as well. But why don't you start out? Just kind of take us through when you started, all that good stuff, and where you started, all that. Things.
All right. So I started as a UFC fan back in like the Ultimate Fighter era, back 05, the Forrest Griffin, Stephen Bonner. And so I always was super intrigued when I went to the ground. And then, so one day I listened to Joe Rogan's podcast. You hear Jocko and, Joey Diaz talking about jiu-jitsu. And I was like, you know what? I've always thought I understood, like what's happening on the ground. So I was like, I'm going to go find a gym. So I actually messaged, I went to high school with Julian Marquez. And I was like, hey, I see you training. Like, where should I go? So he's like, at that time, it was like KCBJJ or Glory. So I was like, well, Glory's close. I'm going to go there. So I went, and I still can't remember the dates. Did you ever look it up to find out?
I have not.
Okay. Because I don't know if it was 2015 or 2016. I still can't remember. But I went in and I tried a Glory Fit class.
Were you at the old spot or the new spot?
The old spot.
Yeah.
Because the new spot was 2018 when we moved there.
Was it 2018? I thought it was 2016.
Because it's when I got my blue belt.
Well, 2016 is when I started, I believe.
Okay. So it had to have been 2016.
Yeah. Yeah, so
at the old place that's now like the sort of mattress deal.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so it had been 2016. So anyways, I went in, I tried a Glory Fit class, and I was like, I'm not really ready for jiu-jitsu. And then a year later, I signed up for my first class, and man, that was a humbling experience. Because I'll never forget, the two roles that I remember the most were Brian Harris, I think was like a 1 or 2 stripe white belt, and I had him in an arm triangle. And I remember him like looking at me like, hey, you've never trained before? I was like, no, but I love MMA. And I remember squeezing. I was like 230 at the time. I was squeezing so hard, and I was like, why is this kid not tapping? Like this little guy, no offense to Brian, but like I was huge at the time, and I couldn't get him to tap. And then I rolled with Zach, and Zach, I think, kind of saw my energy with Brian and was like, let me humble this guy real quick. And I just remember getting up being like, this is jiu-jitsu. Yeah. And after that, I was like, because, as a gym owner, like there's 2 things that happen. People get humbled like that, and then they never show up again, or they come back and they like dive in.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Yeah, we talked about that with Jay. Like that's what happens in jiu-jitsu. Either if somebody comes in with an ego, not saying that you did, because I don't ever remember that from you, but they get squashed by a bunch of guys that are smaller than you and goes away, or they just leave and never come back. And I have great examples of both that have happened over the years. But yeah, I remember kind of like around when you started, just because there was I feel like there was a class that started about the same time you guys did.
Because it was like me, Mike Murray. I can't remember if Nick was there already or not. Then you had Big Mike, you had Stacy. I think Chance was already training there. But like just a group that like I think half of them are black belts now. Half of us are, brown.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
It's super cool to have that many people that stay together, and I think that's a
rare,
testament to the culture of then too, like of whenever we talked about this before, but like if you have somebody that's holding you accountable and kind of just not even necessarily like being like, hey, you got to show up today, but like you have somebody you're bouncing ideas off of and talking to it about, like it makes it easier to show up, and you feel like other people are counting on you. I just realized I left the purple lights on today, so hopefully hopefully we're not glowing over here. I don't know where I was with that, but
I did want to caveat off that because anybody, I know I've talked about Mike Murray a lot. Anybody that knows Mike Murray knows that him and I would not have been friends in any other circumstance ever, ever, ever. Like, we're totally different people, totally different lifestyles. But, like, having that guy that would text you and be like, hey, I'm not going to make it. And so you'd be, why? And they'd be like, oh. Like, what do you mean, why? And it's like, well, why aren't you going to be there? I'm going to be there. And then, like, that accountability starts traveling through everybody. Because then it's like, you start getting text messages or phone calls, but, hey, why weren't you there? Yeah. And then it's like, if you don't have a good excuse, like,
it's so important.
It's a terrible feeling.
It's so important.
But that culture.
Cassie said, unfortunately, the lighting looks normal. Yeah, but that is so important that to have that community aspect of it. That's something we've talked about here a bunch of times. It's like uh, to hold each other accountable, but also just to make it easy to show up for each other too. You know, right? What I mean, to make everybody around you better. Yeah. Where are we at here? Give me some questions, some emojis. As long as people are still in here, I know Jay gave me an emoji. Cassie's in here. Shane's in here. Let's go.
What's up, y'all?
All right. Where are we at? So, how long into this is something I've had a bunch of the newer people talk to me about lately. But how long into training did you decide to start competing? And I think this varies with everybody a little bit, but I've had multiple people ask me this week, like, should I do this? How long should I train before I jump into this competition? All that stuff.
The answer is yes. Just do it. So I signed up for my first competition. I think I started training in September of 2016. I signed up for my first tournament in October. The only reason I didn't do that tournament was because I had cracked a rib literally like a week before the tournament. And I was like, okay, like this really hurts. Like I'm already not very good at jiu-jitsu. I'm going to wait. And then I think I ended up competing in November. But then like I think I competed November, December, January. Because like that was a string where me, Murray, and Nick literally did like every local tournament.
Yeah.
Like it was just us three, and then like Grizz did a few with us. But like we went to Wichita, we went to Des Moines, we did every local tournament that we could. And my thing on like if you should compete, if you're asking that question, the answer is yes. And the only reason I say that is because like the worst thing that can happen is you tap.
Yeah.
Like that's the first thing that happened in my first match ever. I'll never forget it because I would smoke that dude now. Oh, that dude drove me crazy. Anyway,
Do you have video from your first one?
I do.
You do? Yeah.
I do somewhere. It's on
That's
a hard
the
drive. It's not
best.
on my phone.
That's
But,
the best.
so the guy got my arm straight, and at that time, like I was like, okay, I've only been working at Ford for 3 years. Like I really don't want to get hurt. I didn't know how that whole system worked if you did get hurt. But like Danilo was like screaming instructions. Like one of my favorite memories. But
I talked to him this weekend actually. Yeah, shout out to Danilo.
Dude.
He's the guy when I always say this Brazilian guy that used to teach for us. That's Danilo.
And if you hear me go time up all the time, that's me just mimicking him because that's like, to come over to another country, like barely speak the language and then start teaching jiu-jitsu in a language that you don't speak. Like as someone who's tried learning Spanish, like I can't imagine what that was like for him, but his attitude was awesome.
Yeah.
But he was the best because when he was coaching you, like he was very animated.
Yeah.
And I remember like the guy just got my arm straight. He had no pressure on my elbow, nothing, but I tapped. And Danilo goes, "What are you doing?" He's like, he didn't have any pressure. He's like, all you had to do was turn your wrist. I was like, Danilo, you got my arm straight. I got scared. And but yeah, as far as competing goes, like if you're questioning it, definitely do it.
Yeah.
Just because if anything, you're going to learn something. And if you've never gone 100% with somebody, that like you weren't worried about hurting them, because in the gym like nobody wants to hurt anybody. Like that's what I love about Stride is like there's never somebody that's like cranking arm bars or anything crazy, but in competition like you know what you signed up for, but also you have to know like where your threshold is to tap. Just like me, like I knew I had to go to work, so I was like, okay, cool, my arm got straight, I'm tapping.
Danilo was really good about that whenever he like, because I got caught in a gi choke in one of the matches and I was showing him like, man, what should I have done to get He's like, makes it seem like it's so easy.
Oh, yeah,
What do
like,
you just push away? I'm like, well, it
Yeah, he
didn't
was
seem
like,
like
all
that
you had
at
to
the
do was
time.
turn your elbow. It's like, yeah, my arm was straight for the first time ever in competition.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was gonna break it.
Yeah.
And, like hindsight, looking back at it though, I was like, yeah, he didn't have his knees. He didn't even have pressure. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, it's so hard to watch old stuff like that.
I think the competitions are also something that it makes it easy to stay motivated to get in the gym on those days. Like I talked about this last week. You want there to be more days that it's easy to be here than days that it's hard to get up and come, right? You should always leave with a feeling good afterwards. You never regret it, but sometimes getting up and getting out of bed or whatever it is, getting out of the chair after a long day can be difficult. Whenever you have a competition, that's a little extra motivation to keep you moving in that aspect too. But
100%.
yeah. While we're at it, McKenna asked, "Are you planning to compete in any upcoming tournaments?"
I've really thought about it, especially the Fight to Win deal when it came. My only problem is like Matt can attest to this. When I trained MMA, is like I do everything as I do anything, and so like when I am going to compete, I take it very very seriously because I've always had like big pressure when I compete for whatever reason. Even though like I've got like all my friends are they're not nobody's gonna care if I tap or if I go out and have a bad showing. But like I always carried such big weight because I was the competitor from white to purple, really. Like white and blue belt, I competed all the time. And as of right now, no, I don't plan to compete. But if I don't know, I might get a wild hair and just sign up one day.
Yeah.
Like if I do it, I have to be like short notice because the other thing is like I don't have the time to put in to train as hard as I would want to.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, you know, everybody with kids knows like it's just do I want to be a good dad or be a good jujitsu competitor, be a good worker, be a good husband? And it's like jujitsu for me, I love jujitsu and it's been so much fun. But when I was competing, I almost like got to a point where like you put so much emphasis and pressure on trying to be a good competitor that like I was like slacking at work or slacking at home.
This,
So
this is something I think I heard James articulate this really well one time. Is like, and I feel the exact same way. That's I would love to have another MMA fight. I would absolutely love it, but I'm
me
not
too.
willing to uh, disrespect the game by not giving it 100% in my training. You know what I mean? Like, and if you're not gonna do it the right way, if you're not gonna commit as much time as you need to it, or what you feel like you need to, then there's no sense in doing it. So I know exactly what you're saying there, and I think that's one of the things I always respect about you, especially when it came to your MMA fight, is you treat, even though it's an amateur fight, you did the thing where you treat it like a professional. I
Yep.
mean, you did it the right way, because there's a lot of people that don't, and that's the same way with jiu-jitsu. There'll be people that train whatever once in a while, and then they just go in there and compete. And jiu-jitsu is a little different, I guess,
Yeah, I agree.
but
Way different.
for me mentally, even to be able to handle it, like I need to know that I'm training the right way. Um and yeah, I think that's the same thing you were saying
Well,
there.
and that's I mean you hit the nail on the head. Is like for me, like I might be able to go out and smash somebody on after only training 2 days a week,
Hmm.
but like I start like I get in my own head. Like
Hmm.
I'm thinking about cardio. I'm like, okay, is my grip strength going to be there? Like, can I run through a bracket? Like, can
Yeah.
I do 5 hard matches?
Yeah.
And the other thing too is like this is a little chicken in me is like once you get past purple belt, if you compete in no-gi, people are getting so good at leg locks that
You don't get something twisted.
yeah, it's just one of those that like I have good leg locks, I have good leg lock defense that like I'm competent, but like there's some people that that's their world, and
Yeah.
if you dive into that world, like you can it, you can get injured quick, but also like I do know when to tap, so I don't really have an excuse if I'm being
Yeah.
honest. It's just
Yeah.
it's like you said, I just if I'm gonna do it, I have to prepare, and the mental side of it for me is probably the biggest.
Yeah, that's I kind of feel the exact same way. As like I feel like something's gonna come up eventually to where I'll jump in and do one, um, but I'm not willing to just like half-ass it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's my
Yeah,
other thing is like, especially now that I'm an instructor, I'm just
yeah,
like, like I don't want to go out and like half-ass it, like you
yeah.
said, just look terrible. It'd be like, oh, he didn't prepare. It's like,
Well,
well,
that's I think we like the game too much. Like
yes,
we like jiu-jitsu too much
respect it.
and respect the game too much to. That was the best. Like I said, that was the best way I've ever heard it described. Is like respect the game too much to just go in there and not treat it like a professional. Um, but yeah, let's see here. We'll get to another question here. I love the questions coming in. I appreciate them coming in. It makes it sound like I actually like this is a real thing and I'm a good interviewer, right? Otherwise, I'd just be like staring off, like trying to come up with something. But um, let's talk about you as an instructor here a little bit first, too. Or while we're here, Jay asked a question about. Um, uh, I want to get to before we get to Jay's question. Let's get to how you started teaching, right? Because you had kind of taught a little bit before, kind of filling in, and then you know I'll tell this story real quick. I'll ramble here for a second, but before Stride opened, I had a list of people that were on my like short list of people I would love to have teach at Stride, and Tyler was one of the very top names at that list, right? Nick was at the top of that list, and now having Brian Parnell in there, we have Brent helps out, all the time too. Like and Nick, I feel like we have the dream team. If I'm being honest, I told you guys this at the thing. Like this is like the dream team of instructors in my opinion. But I think at the grand opening, I told Tyler, I'm like, hey man, I'd love to have you
Yeah,
if you
you
want to
came
teach
up,
in
you
the
go look at
classes.
the schedule. You're like, pick whatever you want.
Yeah, if there's anything you want to teach, I would love to have you teach it. And at the time it really didn't work out. But then I don't know how long has it been now since you started teaching.
I don't remember.
I don't know either.
I know it was in fall of last year, maybe.
And he was coming in to train every once in a while, and like when I hurt my shoulder, he filled in to help. I just realized I'm probably rocking in this chair. It's gonna drive people nuts. There's little
As
things
long
I'll
as-
start thinking about. And it's like,
Not to get in your head, but the gum. You had gum with Jay, I think.
oh, that drive you nuts.
Oh my God,
Dude,
I was
you gotta
like,
leave me a comment. Let me know.
I couldn't. I was at work. I was listening like with my thing and like in my
could hear it?
my holder. Yeah, I could just
The
hear
mics
you.
are too good. Well,
They were.
It's like the thing drives me nuts too when I go back and listen to it.
I never have heard you say it.
Anyway, you will now. Now you won't even be able to miss it. There we go. Exactly. So, where was I?
I don't remember.
Yeah. So whenever he came
Oh, yeah.
and started, he came to me and was like, "Hey, like, can we have breakfast?" And I'm thinking, one, what did I do to make Tyler mad? I was a little worried, but realistically, I was hoping that whatever it meant for us having, sitting down and having a little meeting was that it meant we were going to have Tyler in the gym more. And so yeah, maybe take us through what made you decide to start teaching, and yeah.
Because you're not gonna like my answer.
That's
That's two
fine.
very selfish reasons.
No, that's fine.
Unfortunately, they are selfish. But so one of the reasons was, so whenever Ignite changed from Glory to Ignite, they changed their schedule to where Tuesday, Thursday was only no gi. And I love the gi. Like anybody that's trained with me knows I love both. I'm proficient in both, but I really prefer the gi. I like the gi a lot. I'll wait to go down that rabbit hole because I'll
We're about to go there. Yeah, we're
Okay.
about to go there.
But so I wanted to be back in the gi, and so the way Ignite's classes worked is I just couldn't make those classes. Like I could only make the 7 o'clock class at that time, and I wanted to get back in the gi. So I was like, okay, I definitely want to go start popping into Stride because the 6 p.m. worked really, really good for my schedule because I could go home, help Kimmy, make sure dinner was ready, make sure Kaylin was kind of, situated, and then I can go train. So the second reason is I just didn't want to be a member. Like I felt terrible because I was popping in and you're like, yeah, come in when you can. And then I was like, okay, like at that time I was like, I don't have the ability to be a member at 2 places. So I was like, okay, I felt guilty. So I was like, okay, here's a way that I can train at Stride in the gi, without stressing Matt out. But the second reason is I had seen people like Brian Harris, Clay. Those are the 2 that stand out the most. Oh, Baker. Like once those guys started teaching, I saw their jiu-jitsu skyrocket. I mean, there was a point in time where like Clay and I, and even Brian and I for a little bit, were like somewhat competitive. Like our techniques were somewhat similar. Like we were going tit for tat. And like 6 months after they started teaching, their jiu-jitsu just surpassed mine because they're breaking it down for different body types. They're breaking it down for all these different situations, and they have to know all the little details and then teach that. And so I was like, okay, selfishly, like I've been a 4-stripe brown belt for a hot second. And I was like, my next promotion is a black belt. And like everybody wants to be a black belt until you get close to being a black belt. And then you realize like there's so much you don't know. And I didn't want to be a brown belt or a black belt in no gi, but not be a black belt in the gi. And so for me, like, 1, I wanted to have teaching experience in general, but 2, like, Stride is super close to me. Like, it's an easier drive. I love the layout. My daughter loves coming here. I mean, literally, my mom's 5 minutes away. So for me, it just was a perfect storm of selfishness to like who I could. Well, that and like you too. Like you've been a huge like stone in my whole journey. Because if it wasn't for you helping me out, I don't know if you remember this, but like
I know you say we did a private or something at some point.
we did do a private.
Yeah.
But the other thing was when I
It was
first
probably
started,
us just rolling though. Realistically, we probably just rolled. We probably
No,
didn't do
you taught me
much.
the hitchhiker escape.
Okay.
I'll never
All right.
forget it. It was
All
my
right.
first private lesson. Anyway, but like, you also helped me like when I signed up. You're like, hey, like, because I was like, hey, I think I'm gonna wait till like X month or whatever. And you're like, hey, if it's the entry fee that's killing you, you're like, you can pay it as you go, or like whatever there was some kind of
we
fee
broke
that
it
like
up. Yeah.
I can't remember, but like you basically like were like, hey, we're not about money. Like, if you're serious about being here, we'll settle up later.
Yeah.
And so then like it gave me like an extra 3 months of training because then I paid that off of 3 months instead of paying it all up front or whatever the fee
Yeah.
was, like the starting fee. I can't remember what we had at the time, but like if you hadn't helped me in that moment, I would have never trained because the financial burden at that time Like Kimmy was going to college. Like, I mean, it was huge. But like just whenever I saw you like see somebody that was interested in being serious, and like that's why like I always tell people, like Matt is one of the best people I've met. Like I don't know. I can't put words into it. It's hard. But like if you hadn't done that for me, I wouldn't be here now.
I probably did it selfishly because I really liked training with Tyler. I said this earlier, but it's always been one of my favorite roles, and not to butter each other up here too much. But yeah, Tyler's always been one of my favorite roles. That's why he was on my list of like people I wanted to get in here. And like I said, whenever he came to me, it was like whatever that means, whatever aspect of you being in the gym more, I was excited about. You know what I mean? More chance to train together and everything else. But
yeah, to answer your question completely, it was one, I wanted to train at Stride. In the gi for in particular is like for me it was a way to get more gi training in, and like I've never had a bad person here ever.
Yeah.
Like I've never had somebody here that I was like, okay, this guy sucks. You know, I've never experienced that, and like nothing against other gyms, but like I feel like this gym is just super family friendly. Like nobody's trying to kill each other. Like nobody's got like that ego or like, but I don't know. It's hard to explain.
No, it is weird
The
because
vibe is different.
I don't know if it's because we don't have a full MMA program or what, but how we like the people that come in, but we haven't had one single like roll or anything that's turned into a full fight in here yet. And that I've had that happen multiple times over the years, and like somebody will get mad at something. We really haven't had any of that I know of anyway. Like that's in here. We've been and not to say that it won't happen. I'm sure it will at some point, but yeah, we've been pretty lucky in that aspect. We haven't had any. Everybody's kind of here to.
Well, I feel like that
They
kinda
don't stick
covers-
around if they don't. Like if everybody doesn't fall into the fun family fitness, then they're not going to stick around anyway. So,
But I feel like that does kind of fall into like the difference between like a jiu-jitsu gym and an MMA gym is like MMA like it's a super selfish thing. Like I know from experience. Like anybody that trained with me during like my MMA days probably didn't like me as much. Like because I only cared about myself.
yeah.
And it was just one of those that you have to be selfish when you do MMA. Like just know if that's any of your ambitions, you have to be very selfish and very particular with your training. And sometimes people are going to get in the way, and you have to smash them. Like it is a very selfish sport. Like you said, you got to respect the game.
For sure. Yeah, that's after the last, few FACs, that's what I keep telling him. I'm like, man, I would love to fight again, but there's no way I could do it the right way. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, anyway. No, there's no way to do it the right way. The way I would have to, like,
I feel like we can make this
whenever I was training before, I was training, 5 days a week. I was swimming in the morning on Tuesday and Thursday, doing strength conditioning on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Like, I treat, like, that's why I always say I could walk away completely happy, and I think that's the same with your fight, which maybe we'll get to or not, but you can walk away from it because you put in the professional level training camp. You know what I mean? Like, and feel no matter what would have happened in the fight, I know I had that experience of a professional level training camp.
But to caveat off that is like you also have almost 20 years of
Closing in on 20, yeah.
of experience. Like because when I came in to, I think it was for Garrett's. Garrett had like a little open mat real quick, like MMA style, and I sparred you, and I was like, oh my god, Matt still has it.
I love it. It's so much fun. Dude,
I was like, oh my god,
whenever
you're piecing me up.
whenever we went to Lee Summit and I got to spar with Tim and James, like that was so, and Gage and Devontae, like I got to spar with some of the best guys, and it was so much fun. I got the absolute dog crap beat out of me, but it was so much fun because they were taking care of me, and it was good. But yeah,
but you never went pro, right? You're still amateur.
No. Yeah, I only had 3 amateur fights. I didn't do anything big, but like I said, at the time in Kansas City, whenever I was training, there was nobody in the UFC really, and then I got to watch my main coach, training partner, James Krause, go to the UFC and do huge things. Tim Elliott would beat the crap out of me all the time, and he is still in the UFC doing big things. So, yeah, I got to see those guys do it, and man, I just fell into the right group of people at the right time. It was, I'm super lucky in that aspect, but let's get back to Tyler here. So one thing I do want to, before we wrap up the instructor portion here, a couple things I want to say with teaching. I know you said you saw people's games elevate. I feel like for me, teaching does 2 things. One, I get to like troubleshoot a lot of positions, or I see other people have mistakes as I'm showing it that I'll have to like figure out, and then I'll make those adjustments in my own game. That's helped a lot. And then also there's this pressure to keep learning in my mind anyway,
Oh,
like to
huge.
keep adding new things to your game and keep trying to improve and come up with something new. What's going to work good for somebody else that isn't really a part of your game, but you know it would be really beneficial for them. All those little things definitely help elevate your game. But what I love about you as an instructor so far is I think it's very evident, and you already said you love the gi, but like that passion is the most important thing. I've learned this more over the last 2.5 years being open here, but like I feel like whoever's teaching, if you enjoy it, that shows to everybody else, and the class is going to be good, right? You just kind of, the instructor's really only job is to show a move, and then they set the tone and the energy of the class. And whenever you enjoy it, it really shows. And that's what I think is evident in your classes is how much you enjoy teaching the gi, and or just in general, how much you enjoy jiu-jitsu in general. But let's talk about the gi though. Let's sell these people on the gi. Why should they get into Tuesday night, Thursday night MMA or gi class and throw on the pajamas?
So the reason I like the gi is two huge things. One, like as far as self-defense goes, people wear clothes, guys. Imagine this. Like unless you're like planning on getting into any kind of altercation at the beach, people wear clothes.
I know
And
there's some naked meth heads running around sometimes. You never know what you're gonna run
you know what's
into.
cool about it though is jiu-jitsu still works
Oh
whether
yeah,
you have
yeah,
the gi on or
that's
not.
true.
So the other thing too is like being able to slow super athletic people down.
Yeah.
So like for me, even still now, like if you get some like 20-year-old wrestler that's like buff and strong, like they're hard to slow down in no gi. Like the way they can slide out of an armbar is nothing like they can do in the gi. Like in the gi, there's so much friction, especially when you use good technique. Like if you pinch your knees together while you're holding an armbar, you know, like having good wrist control on good grips, like people can't get away. And so you can be way more technical, you can be way slower, it doesn't take as much energy either, to where like I still love no gi, don't get it twisted. But in the gi, like especially like they say what 80% of street fights or whatever like always go to the ground. Like if you have to defend yourself, being able to choke somebody unconscious with their clothes, people have like if you've never been gi choked before, like whenever you show up to the gi and like somebody grabs your collar and all of a sudden you're like losing consciousness, it's I can't explain like how practical it is for like the self-defense aspect of things, but I love that you can slow things down and you can't like muscle out of stuff. To where like if you get caught in armbar in no gi, the chances of you sliding out, especially if you're sweaty, are huge. But like in the gi, you pinch your knees together, you start adjusting people's wrists, like it's so much harder. Or the gi chokes, like trying to fight grips, it's just more of a technical battle. And you know, they always talk about jiu-jitsu being like human chess. In the gi, I think it's tenfold, because now if you put your arm here, they can wrap a lapel, they can grab a sleeve, opposed to where it's no gi, they can only grab your wrist or like cup your elbow. And so for me, the like how technical and how nitty you can get in the gi is huge. And the other thing is the techniques. Like you can't do spider guard in no gi. You can try, but like the second somebody's sweaty, good luck trying to like grip somebody's wrists where you put your foot in their elbow pit. Like, yeah, I love the gi.
I think a few things here. Number one of the best things I've heard for a reason to train gi, even if you're only,
Aren't you team no gi?
you know, I've changed my tone a little bit.
Yes.
But one of the best reasons I've ever heard to train gi, the only good reason for MMA that I've heard to train gi, was from Mikey England, who said he looks at it as strength and conditioning for your no gi too, right? Like you can do all the same stuff, but there's more things you can do, and you're using your grips, and so there's that aspect. The way I look at it is more mat time, and I think you just kind of alluded to it a lot, is like there's more things to worry about in the gi, right? You got more chokes you got to defend. There's different positions they can put you in and keep you in that you have to figure out different ways out of. I think they're both equally challenging in their own ways, but there's a whole different set of obstacles you got to worry about. Frank Mir just talked about this on one of the, I don't know if you guys seen the push press BJJ, who goes around and they just say gi or no gi, and they walk up to people. They interviewed me and Nick both at the Fuji tournament, so I keep thinking one of these days we're gonna get thrown on there looking like idiots. But those come up and ask gi or no gi, and Frank Mir was like, it's like comparing tennis and ping pong. Like they're the same, but they're different. You know what I mean? So that you can't really compare one to the other. And I think overall, more mat times better, no matter what your goal is.
And they both make you better at both.
For sure. Yeah.
Like, that's just it. Like, because I get that question all the time. Be like, well, if I train gi, will it help my no gi? Yes.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be more technical in the gi, yes. But if you bring that technical aspect to no gi, knowing that you can slide out or slide into certain things, like, training jiu-jitsu will make you better at jiu-jitsu, guys. I promise
Wow.
you.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Let's see. Let me read a couple of these comments here. You can feel free to ramble for a second while I dig through these.
I'm not a good rambler. I'm not a good rambling topic. Now that
Cassie
I've
says
talked
most
about
of
the gi.
her altercations she's gotten into have been at the beach.
Well, it's a good thing you train both.
Let's see here. The only time you can keep a hold of John is in the gi.
But it's true. Like big athletic people and strong people, like I can handle in the gi much easier than I can no gi.
Yeah.
Like the friction. But I also like teaching in the gi because like if somebody has my back in no gi, I do not, like don't get me wrong, like I'm still going to address the situation. But if somebody has my back in the gi, I have 5 more things to worry about. Like there's so many different collar chokes that you can have in the gi that like when somebody takes your back in no gi, you're worried about a rear naked choke and you're worried about an armbar from the underside.
Shane said he's still worried about the naked meth heads either way.
As you should be. Just, hey guys, don't get into fights. That's 100% like I say go. Like the reason I like the gi is for that reason. But like unless you are threatening my family, like if it's just me, I'll walk away.
Yeah.
As long as I have an exit, I'm gone. Like
Jiu-jitsu does a really good job of that too. I feel like of just taking away that want to fight. Like give a more realistic idea of what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like even if you know you're going to take this guy down and choke him unconscious, like you have to go through that whole process. Yeah. Like, we don't want to have to go through all that. So it does a pretty good job of most jiu-jitsu guys in general are going to avoid it first, and they're not out there looking for fights most of the time. So
well, in the concrete, like,
oh yeah.
I mean, you want to, if you throw somebody on concrete, like, I mean, I'm not trying to catch a charge. I have a family.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Cause I mean, that's, Rogan's talked about this a lot, but like you drop somebody on concrete, like that could be a life ender there. So yeah, it changes things and always something you got to look at, but
only 5 people in a cage, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't go out looking for scraps at Great Clips next door. So, let's see here. I don't even know where we're at.
Didn't Jay have a question? I thought like about being an instructor.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I think we kind of got to it.
Okay.
Let me circle back, make sure I didn't miss anything. Jay said, is your role as an instructor what you were expecting it to be, and do you feel it has helped your personal game?
Oh, I'll answer the first part of that question. No, it is much different than I expected. Very much like Matt said, like whenever you have passion for it, like trying to find new techniques. Like, so for like, we went down the spider guard rabbit hole a little bit. We're not going to go as deep as I thought, guys, just so you know, because my God, like whenever I started getting into spider guard, like I started looking up instructionals and going through the rabbit hole, and I was like, oh, I can do this I could literally teach this for 6 months. I was like, I have to stop. But like, I didn't expect I would start going down rabbit holes on things that I'm not that good at. And to me, that was something new because like, I was like, oh, I'm only going to teach what I know and what I'm good at. And then actually I asked Kraus, I was like, do you only teach stuff that like, and you're good at? And he's like, no, he's like, I teach anything and everything because it might be somebody's A game. That's why like, I was like, okay, that really changed my mentality of being like, okay, I'm not just going to focus on things that I know and understand. I'm going to go out, try and find new information and try to apply it. Because there's even been times where I've like, hey guys, this is not my A game. This is not something I use. We're going to kind of learn it together. And, that's where having like Brent and Parnell and like upper belts in the class, Carson, having them in class to be like, because I always ask, that's something I stole from Brian Harris, straight up I stole it, Brian. Thank you. But like, I remember being an upper belt when he was teaching, he would be like, you got anything to add? And like, there's been a few times where I'm like, hey man, like you weren't talking about how you were moving your hip this way or where you were putting your pressure. I see you doing it, but you're not verbalizing it. Yeah. And having those upper belts to show those things, it's huge, guys. But yeah.
And I think that's just the continuous learning thing is a good just thing for all of jiu-jitsu, right? Or all of life in general. Like the second you think you have it figured out, somebody's going to blow past you. I've probably said this on here before, but like I think you should almost always kind of feel like you suck a little bit at jiu-jitsu. Like it always like will keep you learning and keep you improving. The second you got it figured out, somebody's getting better, somebody's gonna can beat you up. There's always somebody that can submit you. Always. So always trying to find those new things to add to your game and um or branch off of what you already do well, is huge, I think. So um yeah, let's get to a couple of I'm gonna pull up the things here, get to a couple more questions that were left on the post.
Oh yeah.
Leave me some comments and emojis if you're still in here. Let's see here. We may have gotten to some of these already. Okay, I like this one a lot. Rachel Moore, what age did you start training and what advice would you give to yourself at that point, knowing what you know now? So I think we went back a little bit, but take us through that.
Man, I'd change a few things. I think I was, let's see, 2016, I would have been 25. So yeah, I would have been 25. Chase skills, not belts. The reason I say that is because half of the reason I wanted to compete was to get my blue belt. I knew if I went out and started smashing people, I would get promoted faster. Um, I would have slowed things down and focused more drilling, 100%. Because like now that I am an upper belt, and I put so much more value on drilling than I do live rolling, to where white and blue and purple I really focused on like just trying to smash people in live rounds. And man, if I could go back and tell myself, because like I have a journal of when I was a white belt, I used to go home and immediately write down the technique or what I remembered from the technique. And every once in a while I go and look back through that and I'm like, I've forgotten more than I know because there's so many details that like I was just trying to hurry up and get through drilling so I could get to live rounds, because back then Murray and I had like a tally. Be like, oh, Murray got me twice this day. I got to get him twice this week. And so like that would be on my mind the whole time and I wouldn't take in the information. And that's something I would definitely change because as I started getting promoted, I was like, oh, like I remember when I got my purple belt, I remember like looking at purple belts when I was a white belt and like they were gods. They were untouchable. Like I remember Eric like could just do anything he wanted with me. He was like, I think he was the only purple belt at the time. And like once I got that, I was like, oh, I'm that guy now. Like that's what my coach thinks of me. And so like that pressure of getting belted, like not that I got belted too soon, but like I chased belts, like very much was like chasing competitions. I wanted to get promoted. And then you start getting promoted and you realize like there's a giant gap in my game here, here, here. And then right about purple belt I was like, okay, I need to start focusing very much on technique. And that's whenever my drilling got very, very specific. And that's why Murray and I got along so well because like we would out drill everybody. Like we would get more reps than anybody in the class every time. And once I realized like, oh, drilling is where your muscle memory comes in, how you get better at this stuff. Like that's what I would have changed. I would have definitely changed like trying to chase techniques instead of belts.
I like that. I like that a lot. The other thing, like I think you talk valuing the drilling, but also valuing your rounds that aren't not necessarily not competitive, but like the rounds where you're practicing your new things and drilling in your live rounds, right? Where you have a path that you're trying to work and valuing those opportunities as opposed to just trying to win every round. I talk about that with the kids a lot. Like you can't get so focused on just trying to get all the submissions all the time. You got to be trying to work the new moves and work the new things and keep trying to add tools to the toolbox. But
Yeah, that's you can't explain any better than that. Like was it James or somebody was talking about how like you have three different people, somebody that smashes you, somebody you're competitive with, and somebody you can like try stuff on. And like that's kind of how I progress anything new. Like I'll try it on like newer white belts. I'm like, okay, I can hit it there, and then I'll try it on blue belts, and like the blue belts will shut this down. I'm like, okay, I need to do that. And then once you get to like the purple and up, then you're like, if you can hit those techniques on those guys, like you have a legitimate technique.
Yeah, I thought that was really good too. The somebody you're better than, competitive with, and better than you. That's good stuff. Cassie asked if you recommend journaling.
Yes and no. Like it got to a point where I was like, okay, like especially now with voice notes, probably not a terrible idea, but I used to write everything down physically. That was very time consuming because like it would take me probably 15 or 20 minutes after class. So then I'm like, okay, like time is starting to become super valuable the older I get. So like I wasn't able to keep up with it. But if you can keep up with a journal, I think it's awesome because then you can look back and be like I'll never forget one of the ones was the double sleeve grip where you put your foot on the hips and roll them over, and then you can hit the helicopter arm bar. And I had all the details from Danilo talking about. He's like, okay, make sure you scoot your hips up under them to bring them instead of just pulling them on top of you, and like just little details like that you can look back on whenever you're playing around with techniques. You know what? Yeah, I think you should journal.
I don't know if your notes are the same way as mine. If anybody read my notebook, like even when I just like write down what I want to do for class, it would make no sense to anybody else. But like there'll be like details, like they'll be like, what? I don't think that notebook has them, but yeah, there's some things in there. I was like, that makes no sense. So, but
yesterday I was going over like spider passing.
Yeah.
I was watching instructionals and kind of like writing down stuff that I do to pass and then trying to add stuff. And like if somebody read it, they'd be like,
yeah,
this doesn't make any
that's
sense.
the way my notebook is. It's a mess. Like, but I'll look at it and be like, oh yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But anyway,
if you have the time and effort, definitely do it.
Let's see here. Well, let me pull up another question here. John says, how do you balance using what your opponent gives you and using your own game?
That comes with time on the mat. And the reason I say it like that is because sometimes people are making a mistake and you don't know it yet, because you haven't used the technique that follows it. So like, for example, like one of the first traps I ever learned was a hip bump sweep when they post, grab it to a Kimura. So like I never noticed it until somebody showed me, you know, because I'd fail on the hip bump, and then somebody was like, oh, if they post far enough out, you can slide your leg over for a triangle. And like there's little stuff like that that to me is just mat time. So as far as like using what your opponent does, it's an education game, right? It's like human chess they always talk about. If they don't know they're making a mistake, then it's super easy to capitalize on. But also, once you get better at jiu-jitsu, you can start setting traps. So like I know like I love the baseball choke. Like it's a lazy choke because I just let people pass. But like, you know, some people are like, they'll be like, oh my God, I got to pass. And they get excited and then they fall into the trap. To where like other people are like, why are you letting me pass? And then they immediately pass to the other side because they feel where I have my hand. So that to me is just time on the mat and understanding like where your traps are, but also like how it goes into your game. So like the hip bump was like one of my first ones that I ever learned, like, or like the Kimura trap. Like if you get a Kimura from side control and like let them pass, you can literally just extend your arms out, take them up and over. So to me, it's like learning those traps, which I will go over the Kimura series very, very soon, just because it's one of my absolute favorite series. But yeah.
Yeah, Kimura trap's a great example of like just like it's exactly what you're saying, but creating funnels is what I always say. Like you create a funnel, like they have one way they can go, or you know they have a couple options they can take, and we're ready for those options. You know, so you're taking what they're giving you, but you're creating those opportunities is kind of the.
Well, the other thing with that too is like, like if you have physical limitations, like you know. If I can get him to step here, you know, now I can underhook that leg, or, you know, like whenever you're injured, or, you know, just things like that. Like to me, I think that's just a lot of mat time.
All right. And then this last one in the thing from Carson, and this is one I'm super excited to get to actually. Are there certain subs that are inherently disrespectful, or is the intent behind it the defining factor on whether it's dirty or not?
So whenever I read that question, the thing that came to my mind was, are we in the gym or are we at a competition? So if we're at the gym, yes, there's absolutely things that like, if I see you doing, I'm like, wow, that guy's being a real dick today. Like a can opener is one of them. So like a can opener to me, like if you're doing that in competition, you're trying to get them to open their guard. And if they're not going to open their guard to address the neck crank, not a jerk move, in my opinion. Same thing with punch chokes in competition. Like, I don't know why they are just infuriating to me, getting punch choked. Like, if you try to punch choke me, I'm probably turning it up on you. I'm just sorry. I don't know why. Maybe it's past trauma. I don't know. But like a punch choke in competition, they're great techniques. Like I've seen people get put unconscious with punch chokes. I've almost been put unconscious with punch chokes. So for me, like if they're in the gym opposed to like in the competition, everything goes. There's no such thing as a jerk move, in my opinion. But in the gym, like if I see you with double lapel grips and a knee on belly, like driving your knee in. So if you see me doing that to somebody, I'm going to do that for about 2 to 3 seconds. If they don't know how to alleviate that pressure, I'm moving on. I'm not just going to keep being a jerk. Unless it's like, and if I have been a jerk to you, it's because I love you. I promise. Like if I've ever done anything like muffling somebody's mouth, or Like some things that are
We love you, Leonard.
I wasn't gonna say it. I do love Leonard, but like if I do bad things to you in the gym, it's because I love you and I know you can handle it. Like I'm never gonna do that to somebody on their first day of class. I'm never gonna do that to somebody that doesn't really know how to defend themselves. Um, like there's a certain like camaraderie that gets built where like it's kind of funny in the moment. Just like Brandon, whenever I tied his belt and they couldn't get it off. And it's just like we're like, I'm not gonna do that to people that I don't like. If I'm messing with you, it's because I got love for you.
Maybe I'm crazy on this, but I try to tell this to the kids, but you just know when you're being a bad person or not, or being a bad training partner. Like you should have that figured out. You know what I mean? Like, and I think you do, Carson. You know when you're being a dick and when you're not.
100%.
But like, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything. I think you should train everything, but you just have to know not to be a bad person. You know what I mean? Like you said, if you have those double pelvic knee on belly, you're only going to spend a couple seconds there and pass on it. You're not trying to, or if you go for a cane over, you're not going to sit there and crank on it and try to get a neck crank in the class.
Anything can be a dick move too.
For
Like,
sure.
if you snatch up somebody's arm the second they get it straightened and start hipping in really fast, like that's a dick move.
Yeah.
Like there's especially like on these mats in the gym practice, like that's where I think you can be a little bit of a dick. But as far as competition though, like there's definitely some things that I would consider disrespectful.
Yeah.
But if you get the tap in competition, like mother's milk, like if I ever got mother's milk, like I don't think I would ever be able to compete again. Like, like unless it was against like somebody that was just an absolute giant. But if somebody my size did that to me, I would have a real hard time.
Yeah. I think in the gym, everybody should know when they're being a good training partner or not. And I think the biggest one, is, like you said, anything can be a dick move. If I see you submit somebody like 17 times in the first minute of a round, it's like, one, that's not making you any better, and you're just being a jerk. You know what I mean? Like, that's the biggest example of being disrespectful or being a bad training partner I've ever seen. Is like, you get somebody who's trying to win every round, even though when they know they're light years ahead of somebody. They've been training. They're a 4-year white belt, and they're going to get against a 6-month or a 3-month person, and they're just like
trial guy.
Yeah, or trial guy, and they're just looking to hunt submissions over and over again. Like if you watch the best jiu-jitsu guys in the room, they're not doing that. You know what I mean? Like they'll find their submissions, they'll slowly finish the tap. I know from experience, like I'll put anybody in a twister, but if I finish one, or if I'm going against somebody new, I'll get to the position and then I'll transfer to the back and start working to the back or something like that. You know what I mean? Like there's just or
just catch and release.
Exactly.
Like
Like
there's been times like, no offense to John, but like when he got his blue belt, I was like, okay, like I'm gonna see how many times I can wrist lock him, and I only do that a couple times just because like it's out of love.
Exactly.
But also, I also want you guys, and I've said it before, like I want you guys to be uncomfortable on these mats. I don't want you to be uncomfortable competing, because if you're gonna go compete and you've never had somebody like cover your mouth with your gi, or if you've never had somebody try to wrist lock you in competition, like I want you to get that uncomfortable jitters out on these mats with your friends and family. Like don't do that. Like I don't want you to get smother tapped in competition and then be like, what was that? I've never experienced it before.
Yeah.
You've never rolled with Carson.
Yeah, and that's and that comes a lot of time. Like I try to tell this to the kids a lot. Drake's not my example here, by the way, Rachel. So he wasn't who I was thinking of as I was going through this. But with the kids, a lot of times they're just looking for that submission, and you never get a chance to chain things together. Because if you are better than that person, you're finishing one armbar. Well, you get to a competition and somebody escapes that armbar, right? How do you transition into something else? And I think that's all levels too, but especially as you get better and better, like the catch and release thing, I think is huge, because it's going to allow you to drill chaining things together and not just finishing the rear naked choke over and over and over again. It's like, all right, you finished the rear naked choke. How we transition from the back to mount, and all those things too. So I think it's very important to, kind of like I said, value those rounds where you are better than somebody and can drill whatever you want on them. And you can finish submissions, but you're also chaining things together too, right? You're putting 2 and 3 things together. That's the best guys at jiu-jitsu are the ones that have a series of things that work well together and keep putting them into each other. So, yeah. Any more questions in the comments? Let's see here. Cassie says she's a subject of the catch and release game.
Allegedly.
Any other questions in the comments? Leave me some emojis. Let me know who's still in here. We got a drawing that we're going to do here in just a few minutes. Been going about an hour almost.
Is it
It's
really?
crazy, yeah.
Oh man,
55 minutes. No,
Anyone
that's
that's ever
good.
been to my class knows I ramble though.
That's a
I
good
get down
one.
a rabbit hole.
That's a good one. Yeah. Any other questions? Leave me something. Leave some likes or something. Fill up the chat box real quick. You guys have been doing a good job today of leaving in there. I appreciate it. Like I said, I think it makes the interviews better when I don't have to lead the show. I need to know though in the comments, do we want to watch Tyler's fight first, or do we want to go ahead and do the drawing? Fight.
No, we should probably do the drawing
fight.
first. Give the people what they want.
Give
Nobody
the people
wants
what
to
they
watch
want.
that fight.
All right. Oh, everybody wants to watch the fight. Before we get to the fight, the thing one of these days I'm gonna get James on here too, is my goal. And something he has so many good stories around the fight and in the fight of things that he was thinking, or like little backstories that from the training camp or the walk-in, whatever it is. And I think those are so interesting. And so as we go into this, before we watch the fight, yeah, we're getting fight comments down here. Let's go. As we go into this, I would like a little preview of what made you decide to take the fight. You're the only person I know that said they were going to do one and only did one. I'll say that first. Like, you did it, but maybe about your opponent, how this fight came about, where it was at, all that good stuff. Just give us a little preview of what we're going to watch here.
All right, I'll try to cut it short, but so it would have been 2017. I was rolling with Robin, Eugene's wife, and at that time we didn't really have like a proper open mat. It was just like, it was kind of MMA sparring, but like jiu-jitsu guys could hop in and help. And I went for like a single leg X, and I was going for an ankle lock, and she goes bop and just bopped me right on the nose. And I remember being like, oh, this is super unrealistic. So then after I got my blue belt, I was like, I want to start training MMA. And the very first thing I ever did was go to an open mat with sparring, and Zach hit me in the liver. And I mean, not hard, like just like that. And I was like, oh, that's not bad. And then I remember going, making all these terrible sounds and like drop to the ground. And I was like, I've never experienced anything like that in my life.
This is the worst thing in the world.
I would rather get knocked. I've been rocked, but I've never been knocked out. I think I would rather get knocked out than hit with the liver again. That's the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. But sorry to cut it short. So I started training pretty serious in like 2018, and then I literally told Zach, I was like, "Hey, I'm not gonna fight. I just want to make myself a better martial artist." And then I started like gaining some skills to where I started recognizing like, oh, I'm having fun with some of the guys that do fight. And then it finally hit me one day where I was like, I think it was Murray. We sat down, and he goes, "Hey man," he's like, "I've done this," and he's like, "The feeling you get is indescribable." And he's like, "I know you don't want to do this, but he's like, if you ever find the time that you can," he goes, "I think you should do it." And so finally, I was on days at work, like I had a good routine at home. Kimmy was out of college, and so I was like, okay, let's do one. We'll do one bucket list deal. And so I started training super hard for about a year straight. Like I just was getting as many classes as I could. And then it was on my birthday. I'll never forget it. At the time I was boozing a little bit. I just bought 2 bottles of wine and a Reese's ice cream cake. I was like 198
Let's
pounds.
go.
And before I even popped the bottle, Zach texted me and goes, "Trenton Morris, FAC, March 5th. And I remember being like, I'm 198 pounds. Like, I have to make welterweight. I had no weight cutting experience.
Which is 170 for those of you that don't know.
So I was 28 pounds over at the time. And so I just said yes. Put the bottles of wine in the cupboard, put the ice cream cake in the freezer. And I told Kimmy, and I was like, "Hey, how do you feel about it?" She goes, "It's about time." And so, long story short, I got super serious with my training to where like I would go to work 6 to 5. I'd get off at 5, go straight to the gym, and whether it be 5:30 jiu-jitsu or MMA, I'd hit that class, and then I'd stay for the 7 o'clock class, and then get home, eat dinner, and just do it all over again. And like we talked about earlier, respect the game. Like I was the first time I'd lifted weights in a long time. I was going on jogs on the treadmill every once in a while. Like I was just putting in as much work as possible. But like a fun story is, so the week before my fight, it was like the last hard workout. And Zach set up like these the circuit training deal where like it was like, okay, you do burpees here, and then the one that stands out the most is there's a stability ball, and you have to hold somebody down. So Mike was trying to hold me down with a stability ball, and I just remember I was in the best shape of my life, dude. I mean, I felt invincible, and I remember Mike couldn't hold me down with that ball. Zach came over with that ball and tried to hold me down, and I just remember getting up being like, nobody can hold me down, and Zach did the best job you could do with somebody who's an amateur with no fight experience with making them feel bulletproof. Like I felt good with my takedown defense, felt good with my offense. Obviously, just got my purple belt. My striking was not great, but like they had built the confidence in me to do that. So the week of my fight, we're starting to slow down with the intensity. I get super sick. And this is in 2021 when COVID is still a thing. Like whenever I was selling tickets, I could only sell them in groups of 4 because of social distancing and all that stuff. And so I remember I called Mike and I was like, I think I have COVID. And I hadn't had it yet. And he goes, what are you going to do? And I was like, I'm not saying shit. I'm not saying anything. And I was like, I'm going to see how this works out. Because I think this was Tuesday and I had to weigh in on Thursday or Friday. And then like I talked to Dr. Crabtree and I was like, hey, like, because I think he had already had it and like he kind of knew what you should feel, how you should feel. And he goes, hydrate. And I'm like, I got to make weight. By the way, I forgot to mention, like, training the way I trained, I didn't diet. I didn't do anything. I was 175 the week of my fight. Nice. Like, just from training that intensely. And so I was like, all the real weight cutters were like, hey, man, you're 5 pounds out. You don't have to cut weight.
You'll be good. Yeah.
That's what he said. Like, Mike Eaglin, Nick, Mike, like, everybody was like, hey, don't worry about your weight. Just feel better. And then 24 hours later, felt fine. Made weight at like 169 and just the only thing I didn't do was eat that morning. Like it just, if I was going to do another one, if I didn't decide to have a baby, I was going to go to 55 because I think I could mollywop people at 55 at that time. But yeah.
You guys ready to watch this thing or what?
No, do the raffle, man. You're going to make people
They've
wait.
asked for the fight. The people have spoken. We got to do the fight. We got to keep them on a cliffhanger. Make sure they stay to the end for the raffle. There's a lot of names in there this time. We had a lot of people fill in. So, all right. So let's head over to the screen share, and we will check this out. Let's see what happens if I press this button. Boom. Oh, look at that. That's pretty good. Make us smaller in the corner.
You see everybody with their masks. I forgot about all that.
Yeah, it was a wild time.
Yeah, March 5th, 2021. I'll never forget it.
Go ahead and click play here. And, one thing I want to talk about afterward, too, how you feel like MMA has influenced your jiu-jitsu game. So this was 2021, so that's what, 5 years ago? 6 years ago?
6? Yeah, it was 5 years ago. 5 years ago. Yeah. And I remember the commentator was like, "Oh, age could be a factor here." I got 14 text messages. People like, "They called you old."
Who was the commentator?
I don't remember.
I have to turn it on and listen. It wasn't me for this one. I know that.
No,
I remember watching this fight, and I'll be honest with you, I don't remember how it ends. I remember it was a good. It was a second round finish, right? Don't spoil the surprise.
I won't spoil it, but I do want to say, like, as a bucket list thing, I wanted like 3 things to happen. I wanted to get cut for some silly reason. I wanted to go past the first round. God, I was skinny. And I wanted to like get put in a bad position because like if I'm gonna do it once, like I kind of wanted to get after it. Oh, this first round's tough to watch. The first 30 seconds is good.
Yeah, I remember it being a good fight here right at the beginning, and it's so much more rewarding whenever you have a little bit of a dog fight. So you saying that you wanted to get in there is good. Oh no! No! Oh no!
Oh, I'm not getting royalties. What is happening?
Look away!
Oh gosh, what is happening?
An
ad on an amateur fight?
There we go. How dare they?
Oh, I can't believe that. That's rude. I remember I tagged him one time, and he's like, doesn't want anything to do with it. Flat-footed. Oh, rough. It's tough to watch. I had to keep my right hand up because I was worried about getting like check hooked.
And so you're a purple belt at this time?
Yeah, I just got my purple belt. Yeah, that was the one that he was like, oh, okay, I don't like that. Because I was ready to just stand and bang. Like I had zero intention. I told everybody, I was like, guys, I'm not doing any jiu-jitsu. Like, don't expect to lay and pray. But when he took this shot, I thought I was right next to the cage. So like when I started walking, I looked and I was like, oh my God, the cage is so far away. And then he got both hooks in, and I was like, "Oh my god! I just got my purple belt, this blue belt from 10th Planet's on my back, which I love 10th Planet guys. It just was like a mental thing for me, and so." Looking back at it, like I should have just tried to go belly down and peel that top hook out, but I was so scared to get choked out in front of everybody. Like that's where like pressure was huge. But then like once I realized like I have defense here, like that's where the purple belt really kicked in. Like I was never really in any kind of panic. Like it's wild. Like in Brian Harris is somewhere like behind the thing, like somewhere in the crowd. I remember looking up and seeing him, and he just looked so disappointed. I just remember being like, but he didn't look concerned to where like if he was screaming instructions or something, I'd been like, oh man, I'm in a really bad position. But like right now, like I'm like, okay, the round's probably almost over, and I'm like trying to find a clock to figure out where I'm at. And so once he goes, like he tried to get that palm to palm grip, I was like, okay, like this guy's not strong enough to submit me from here. I'm just gonna keep fighting my hands. And then I knew how much time was left, so I was like, oh my god, like I have to get out of this position.
You know what's so, and I'll talk about this more at the end too, but like you could tell the good thing about being in these bad spots is you put in the work for it, right? Like you've done everything that you were supposed to do, and even just on the feet watching you strike, like you looked so comfortable. Like you could tell that you'd put in the work in the gym. It's not like a lot of times you see guys go out there and they haven't done the sparring and haven't done the training, so they get put in a bad spot like this, and it's like the panic sets in immediately, and they'll look to tap, and you battled through it.
Well, and
like you were in the gym.
One of Mike's things, his favorite things, is at the end of this round, I get up so pissed off. Like I'm not. I mean, that's the other thing is like putting in the work. Like I was in the best shape of my life. Like I probably could have fought professional rounds. I just remember being like MFer. Like just
you got your cut too. It looks like.
Yep, I did. I did get cut. Like I was super embarrassed. That was brutal. It's so hard to watch. Like it's just such trash jiu-jitsu. But
there's Brian. He was in the back corner there.
Yeah. He was like, oh my god, what is Tyler doing? But I remember looking up like while I'm in the choke and like seeing him being just staring at me, and I was like, oh god. But yeah, like putting in the work. Like I remember telling Zach and Mike, because those were the guys in my corner. So I just looked at Zach. I was like, hey man, however this goes, thank you for the opportunity. Thanks for putting in the work for me. And I've put in everything I could put into this. And if it doesn't go my way, then he was a better fighter that night.
Well, and I think that's why, like, and I love the fact that you said you got up angry, because like one of two things happen there. If you don't put in the work in the gym and know that you're not ready for it, you get broken in that moment, right?
100%.
Like you quit in that moment. You like, crap, I got to go out there again against this guy, and you got up angry, ready to go again.
My footprint on his stomach.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why it always just made me giggle. So I just remember being like, all right, I know the takedown's coming now. I'm gonna try and beat that outside foot battle, because he kept going open stance, and I loved open stance because Mike was my main training partner, and he was a southpaw.
That opens up that body kick too.
Yep. Trying to go split two. Right here. Boom. Back fist. Go down. That was, I wanted to hit that guy so hard. I was, that's the most mad I've ever been.
Nice.
Oh, that feeling though, there's nothing like it. I'm so glad I did it.
And there's something so much more rewarding about going through that adversity too, like you did in the first round. There's Mike. Yeah. Going through that adversity and getting a win is so much more rewarding than just going out and getting something quick. I say that it's a lot, but my third fight was way more rewarding than my second, and I got dropped in my third one. I got caught with a big.
When are we gonna watch your fights, man?
I don't know.
I feel like we should do that.
No,
hey,
not
comments.
today. Not today.
Let's go ahead and light up. See if we can
Not
get
today.
Matt to
This
show
is
his
about
fights
you.
next week.
This is about Tyler.
No, I'm not a selfish person, buddy.
No, that's
I want to see it. I don't think I've ever seen your fights.
Oh, well, you're not missing much. Actually, I will say this. My first fight was pretty exciting. Julian, who we spoke about earlier, he said it was his favorite amateur fight of all time. So, yeah, it was an exciting one. But we better watch you get your hand raised, too, at least. Come on.
Oh,
There we go.
I mean, I do miss looking like that, though. That took a lot of work to look that good. I was in the best shape of my life. At that point, I look at Zach and I go, holy shit. I was like, I had no idea, like, what it felt like. And that's when I saw Kimmy. I'll never forget
awesome.
that, because, like, she was so supportive through that thing, dealing with me. Like, I must have been a nightmare because I was never home. I don't. Thank God it happened in like the fall to where I didn't have to mow. Like I wasn't home, and like that whole row to the back, like right behind Trenton, that's all my people. You see like Weber right there. I think I sold like I don't even remember. It's like 120 tickets.
Nice.
Like that was it was just such a cool experience to get to. And I look at Zach and I go, hey, I've been waiting forever to get this photo.
Yeah.
Waiting for
awesome.
this photo for a long time. I'm
cool.
just so proud of that because later on that year, Kimmy did a 50-mile race.
That's cool.
So I did this in March, and in September, so right after my fight, she started training for her 50-mile race. And so in the same year, she did a 50-mile run at the same time I did an amateur MMA fight, and it was just
That's cool.
yeah,
Something you guys can do together like that's awesome.
yeah, it was. I'm definitely glad I did it. Like if I didn't have Kaylin, I probably definitely would have went down that rabbit hole and probably would have had another one because I didn't get to show any of my grappling other than defensive grappling, and that killed me for like a month after that fight. I didn't get to show any of my offensive grappling at all. But
yeah, how do you think MMA changed your jiu-jitsu?
oh my God, that day with Robin, like literally. So after that, I was like, okay, I need to work because at that time I had 0 takedowns. Like all of the local tournaments that I did, you'd always hear, oh, and then you look over and it'd be Nick airlining somebody. Like it was the craziest
Yeah,
thing.
we should have pulled up that video during Nick's thing because man, there's one of he posted it was like how to understand the slam rules or whatever. He was notorious for slamming people without slamming them. You know what I mean?
Dude, he pissed off
Oh,
so
much
many
fun to
coaches.
watch. Oh, so awesome though.
But yeah, going back, so like I was a guard puller for a long time, up until about when I started training MMA, and then that's when my top game got way better. My pressure, knowing when like you have like limbs that are isolated to where like one of my favorite things to do was to reach behind somebody's head from mount and cup the back of their arm and like turn your fist over because it isolates that arm, and then you have this free hand because their arm's trapped here. This arm can't move. And you can just rain punches. I didn't get to show any of that stuff. It's so frustrating, but it changed the aggression too.
Yeah.
Like you instead of being like laissez-faire about everything, is I was like, oh, you need to have intention, and once you're on top, then you can catch your breath. But if you're not on top, you're not winning.
That's the thing I think I noticed the most is like when we talked about this when Nick was on here too, but you find the spots you can be comfortable and the spots you have to explode a lot more in MMA. You know what I mean? Like, especially in guard, like you can't start letting the posture up. If you're in guard, you got to be either attacking or you have to have their posture completely broken in a good spot to avoid big punches, and makes you be a lot more aggressive, like you said, and submission hunt. But all right, guys, any more comments here? Any more questions for Tyler? Once again, super appreciative of Tyler coming in and doing this today, taking some time out of his day. We're a little over an hour and 13 minutes into this. So, thank you for coming in and making me not have to just sit here and ramble for.
Thanks for having me. You should do the raffle. So. People are going to be upset.
All right, we'll do the raffle. Give me some drum roll emojis or something for the raffle. I'm going to let Tyler be the bad guy here.
Oh,
or the good guy. He's got to do the drawing.
You didn't warn me about this.
He's probably not going to be able to read my handwriting, but that's all right. I'll know who it is. So let's see here. I'm going to cover up the bottom.
That's a lot of pressure.
Shake it up on the camera.
I'm not even going to look.
Somebody's got to give me something. Let me know people are in here for the raffle. Who wants to win $500? I still got some time. I'm waiting for at least one emoji before.
Right. You let me know when you get the emoji. Yeah. Not even going to glance at it. It's going to be all chance.
And again, thank you guys while we're waiting for some emojis rolling here. Thank you guys so much for everybody that has contributed to the referral raffle. I know we had a lot of people come in for the Blacklight Beatdown, which my plan is to do another one of those in May. I don't have a date, but hopefully in the next couple weeks I'll have a date and we'll start promoting that again because it was so much fun. But thank you everybody that brought somebody in for that, everybody that's invited friends on Facebook. And again, Katie she had like 200 more that it didn't automatically send invites to the first time. So you guys might still have the opportunity to invite some more people, even if you did a select all before. Facebook's weird about that. So, but thank you guys so much for the reviews, for bringing people in, all that stuff, helping spread the word all around. Really, really appreciate it. It's, like I said, the best thing that we could do to get people in here. It's like, I can say and post all I want on Facebook, but it means a lot more coming from you guys. So I really appreciate you guys. But we got a few emojis in here. I'm going to let Tyler go ahead and make the drawing.
A little spin. I got 2.
The winner, the $500 raffle, Katie Spicer.
I'll expect royalties.
Katie. Yeah,
Congratulations.
So Katie Spicer, like I just said, she invited a few more friends on Facebook just the other day and got an extra entry in there. So congratulations, Katie. Make sure somebody tags her in the comments, lets her know she is our winner. And yeah, super well deserved. She's always spreading the good word, and has been, like I said, with this Texas trip, has been super helpful too, about getting hotel stuff all organized and figured out. So congratulations, Katie. I'll have a check for you when you come in here. But yeah, appreciate all you guys that jumped into that. Any more questions for Tyler before we wrap this thing up? Thank you all for tuning in and bearing with us through this. Hopefully the mic sounded okay. I know last time I got a little echoey between the two. Hopefully we figured that out.
We didn't do a mic check.
Yeah, we didn't do a mic check. Yeah,
we didn't ask if it sounded
I
good.
can plug headphones in here, but I tried it one day so I could listen to myself, and there's only one volume, and it's like blasting in my ears. And I'm like,
can't do it.
if I'm gonna hear myself, I want it very low. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear myself at all. But yeah, thank you guys all that have tuned in. Really appreciate you guys. And as I've said the last few weeks, I'm never too busy for you guys. If you have any questions, any comments, any ways that we can improve, please let me know. You're never gonna hurt my feelings. And yeah, if you have anything for Tyler too, hope to see you guys in Tuesday, Thursday gi class this week. Be there.
Let's go.
And yeah, Tyler, anything you want to leave off with?
Yeah, I mean, any feedback, anybody that does my gi classes, I appreciate that as well. Like, if you guys could shoot me a message, let Matt know. Just because, like, I've only been teaching for, I don't know, like 6 months or so. I guess it's been longer than that now, but still, like, I like to get the feedback to know, like, am I moving too fast, too slow? Am I staying on one topic too long? But the only thing I'd want to leave anybody with is training jiu-jitsu has been probably like one of the most positive things in my life, whether it be through like networking or not having to go to therapy. Like if you have a bad day, like a lot of times you're like, you want to immediately not train. I just can't tell you emotionally, like how good I feel after training, even if I've had a bad day. Like, my best friend's mom recently passed, and the day she passed, I came in and taught. I had to. Like, you can't focus on bad things whenever you're training, right? So you have to focus on the right then and there. And if you're having a bad day, like, yeah, those things are still going to be there when you're done. But like that hour and a half or 2 hours where you're thinking about, like, okay, do I go spider or lasso? Like, or if like somebody's trying to choke you, if somebody's trying to choke you unconscious, I don't care what's going on outside of the gym. Like, it's going to make your day better. And that's the only thing I would say is, like, I've never came in and regretted training ever. I've never done it, not one time. And like, there's been so many days where I'm like, oh, I'm tired. Oh, this, oh, that, oh, woe is me. And then like I come in and train and I've never regretted it. I've regretted not going. Like, there's been times where like the demons won that day to where like I was like, I'm not going to go. And then Michael texted me and be like, dude, we can't believe what we just learned. And I'll be like, gosh dang, I should have went. But that's my thing is, like, guys, train. Just train.
Absolutely.
In the gi, preferably. Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yes, we'll see you tonight, but we will also see you Tuesday and Thursday this week with Coach Tyler. And, when it comes to gi class, guys, come in and try it out. Even if you don't have a gi yet, we have a couple loaners in the back that people have donated. I know Tyler's donated a gi here, and I think Paul just donated one too. So we will make sure we can get you in one. And then, like I said, you can come try it out before, even if you're just in no gi stuff trying out the gi class, come in here, try it out. The great thing about having, like I said, we got the dream team, we got Coach Nick, we got Coach Tyler, we got Brian, we got all kinds of great great knowledge in here, and everybody's a little bit different, does things a little bit differently, or has a different idea on things. So the more looks you can get at things, the better. And so yeah, see you tonight, but let's see you this week, Tuesday and Thursday. Let's pack out those nights as well, and come try it out and have some fun. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate you all. Tyler, appreciate you again.
Thank you.
And we're gonna wrap this thing up. We'll see you guys on the
Tuesday.
mats.